like I sort of like some of these people, like kind of like I would like to think that I kind of like I showed them how it's done, right? And then you end up seeing that these people start doing better than you, right? And you're like, oh, well, wait a minute, like I showed you, right? And then you start getting kind of like jealous, like why is he doing better? And you start competing. Oh well, yeah, so it's still okay. I need to make 15%. And then it's a death spiral, and then you're exactly, and then your friends are buying you a drink.
Because you have no money.
Yeah, exactly. So what's up, people? Welcome to another episode of Pesa Chronicles, where we talk about real issues and money, one of the conversations that you guys love. So today, I'm actually feeling the heat because I'm sitting next to two giants in my field. I would want to introduce them, but then, again, like I said, they're giants, so I'll let them do the honors for us. So we'll start here. Welcome. Just tell us about yourself and who you are.
Okay. My name is Kenneth Weganjo. I'm the local CEO of Scope Markets. I've been with the business since inception, so that's almost 5 years now.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. You've heard about that, 5 years.
And well, we say giants, I guess kind of like if you take the physical side, then maybe not.
I'll take that one.
But so Pavel Spirin, I'm the global CEO for the Scope Markets group of companies. Been with the company, don't know how long actually.
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years. So yeah, almost 3 years, and it's been exciting from day one, and it's still very exciting. So I'm here, and yeah, I'm excited.
Definitely welcome. Yeah. So I didn't get to introduce them deliberately because on Pavel's side I can only say Pavel. The second name, I leave it to God. Yeah, but you're definitely welcome. So at Pesa Chronicles, we just get to have conversations about life, about the mistakes that you've made with money, the mistakes that you made throughout investment, and the kind of like life lessons that you carry out of it moving forward and the things that you're doing differently. So I definitely want to start with Pavel. So Pavel, you coming into Kenya, what really caught your attention when you first got into Kenya?
So it's my third time now in Kenya. And it's kind of getting better and better each time I come.
Third time's a charm.
Although it's a kind of weird time because of the situation in the country, but at the same time, I kind of like, I don't know. The first time I came, there's something about the people. People are sort of aspiring. There's a lot of drive, and there's a very strong sense of community as well. So I kind of like, that's what caught my attention a lot, and I feel kind of like there's progressive development. So every time I come in, I just know it just feels closer and closer. So yeah, that these are the things that stand out for me.
Oh, so you'll say like the community aspect stands out for you mostly as compared to all the other countries you've been in.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the hospitality here. Maybe
definitely thanks to Ken.
Maybe I haven't seen the real Ken. I don't know. But I mean I'm joking. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like it feels kind of like almost like being home. It maybe sounds a bit cliche, but yeah, like the other countries. Depends. It's kind of like people tend to be very much in their heads a lot, and kind of like you have this, separate. People are like apart from each other. So, I feel like it's it's warmer here essentially, like on a human level. So, yeah, that's kind of like how I would describe it.
Oh, definitely. And Ken, I think you and part of the team got a chance to even travel to Cyprus. What would you say is different between the places that you've been and Kenya?
Well, Kenya is home, so I would have the bias for saying Kenya is the best I have visited. But we did visit Cyprus late last year, and we had the opportunity of meeting people we'd talked to on Teams, only seen on video. For example, I'd never met my boss until last year, yet we've worked together for many years. So it was a good experience. People are warm. They are as as warm as you'd expect because they know you. But there is that expectation that as you walk about, somebody who doesn't know you doesn't, as he said, pay much attention to you. Yes. Here there's some level of concern. Everybody is finding out whether you're comfortable, you need anything. But for the office, everybody was very warm. We were very lucky. We went during a week that also had some parties.
So the hospitality side.
I was gonna say after a few Ozo, the traditional drink there.
And Pavel was there, and he took us out for lunch. Some fancy restaurant. It was pretty warm that time of the year, even though it was.
October is a good time to come to Cyprus because it gets really, really hot during the summer.
Yes.
So October is it's beginning of October. The temperature comes down, so it's nice to come because it's still warm, but it's not it's not cold and it's not sweltering hot like it is usually.
And also the sunsets were much later in the day, which was unusual.
Nice. Even now, the hospitality side, have you gotten to try any local Kenyan cuisine?
I have been, but I won't be able to say what exactly have I tried.
It's okay.
But no, I've been around, and actually that's what I like doing it. I don't like sometimes you come on an official visit, let's say, and everything is kind of like you're being taken around, and you go to. I like to local places, to try the real authentic stuff. So, yeah. So I mean, every time
I'm not sure he's been to a local.
Definitely. Those are locals. Because you see, part of the team that went there, guys went there, and then we have guys that are lactose intolerant, and they are telling us all the food in Cyprus had cheese.
Yes.
So guys were definitely bloated the entire time. So now that's why I even wanted to see if you've tried some Kenyan, but I'll definitely ask Ken to take you to a local.
There's local.
Yeah, okay. And then there is the normal local.
Yes. I look forward to that.
Okay.
So, Now, one of the things that is very vital to us is you've been to several countries, and seeing that you're in the financial space, what do you find as the difference between the Kenyan market in terms of demographic and all the other countries?
I mean, it's kind of hard because different countries will have differences.
Yes.
So it's hard to kind of group them sort of, you have Kenya and then the rest of the world. It's more like you have Kenya versus, an Asian country like, UAE or somewhere in Europe. I would say kind of like what I'm seeing, if I compare, let's say, Kenyan market with Middle East, for example, or Southeast Asia, what stands out is, the kind of the risk levels, what I see over there are very, very high. And I feel here, there are risk levels as well, as in what people are doing. But I feel that people want to embrace kind of different types of products, So there is risk here, less risky products is what people really want, is that what I feel? Whereas in Middle East, Southeast Asia, I sometimes feel that people just want to, it's just, kind of the appetite for that is a lot, larger. And so sometimes when you offer something to the market, that I think would be kind of a really good kind of product here, it's not going to work there because people just want to take larger risks. So that would be kind of my very high level superficial observation on that. Of course there's more depth to it, but high level I'd say that's kind of the thing that would stand out for me.
I'm thinking also from a demographic point of view, perhaps the younger guys can take on more risk than the ones we are attracting, perhaps also because of income levels. So there's an inverse relationship. The guys who want to take the risk have less to commit. The ones who want to take the lower risk have more money to commit.
It absolutely could be. I feel sometimes there is a bit of a mentality where sort of it's all in or go home.
Yes.
And I would advise not to do that. Whereas obviously here families, you have generational wealth. Investment products. Parents saving for kind of college funds. That type of mentality. Whereas in some of the other markets, it's not like that. It's sort of you grow up, you earn. And then you sort of, I want to open a trading account, and then I want to win big,
Yes.
So we see that a lot, especially in Southeast Asia.
Okay. Yeah, because if we get to compare that with the Kenyan market, you'll find that within the Kenyan market, now it's when I'd say we are at a place where guys are realizing that Forex can actually be an avenue for you to make money. So we are experiencing guys between the ages of 21 to 35. A lot of them are now coming into the space. But part of the challenges that we face is most of them don't fancy or want to get into it and take time. They actually just think it's something that they're going to get in today and then it happens. So for both of you across the various devices that you've been in, is this something that you see a lot, and what is the actual solution to it?
Well, I can talk a little bit, like not just from my positions experience, but I've also traded and I'm trading, a lot. So I can talk from that, like, I mean, it's rare, when you come in, let's say today, and you expect to make a very big return, the next week, buy your Lamborghini, brag to your wife or girlfriend or whatever, right?
It has to be golden though.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Shiny.
I sense that you have one. but it's very rare, right? So these types of things. And I can say from experience, I've lost a lot of money, trying to trade and trying to outsmart things, and it always comes back to kind of like, it's better to start with something you really understand, So like, I mean, measure your risk levels, understand what you're doing, understand the kind of like the specification of a product. Take it slow, like it's sort of like death by 1,000 cuts is better than sort of like one big blow. So, and that's what really works for me. Like, if I reflect on my own experience, I'm a lot more successful at like doing the same thing, like small wins over time, than like one big win. But sometimes, like, I mean, I even know this theory and I don't do it anyway because it's not as exciting,
Yeah.
Winning big is kind of like, it carries that certain degree of like, what, I've done it. So there is that allure, but it just, like, as long as people are making a conscious choice, the bigger positions people take, the more risk. So I would say kind of like the experience, like, like the trick is really to just get, educate yourself on the fundamentals, and then just don't get greedy. Don't kind of like chase, winnings or losses. Just kind of try to keep a cool head. Psychology is very important, and like patience. Just kind of like small wins over time beat one big swing. Almost all of the time. So.
In my experience or observation, I think it's people are in a hurry. And they think this is the sure bet, so to speak. And we need, obviously, just like you learn any other thing in life, take your time, calculate your risks before you get in, and don't expect, as you said, the Lamborghini tomorrow after one trade. Take your time to learn. And also work from, as he said, work from something that and understand.
And understand.
Even Warren Buffett has always said he invests in companies he understands. So it's always the basis. Do you understand what you want to go and trade? And if you do, then at least you are able also to analyze the market better because you understand the product. So you.
There is as well this kind of like, and I know this from personal experience. Once you start trading, and let's say if you have a successful period, even if you have like a long successful period, there is this kind of like then, not illusion, but like this sort of feeling that you feel like, you have like this feeling that you need to be in the market all the time, like you're in, you need to keep placing trades, and then and in reality, and this doesn't come from me because I'm not nowhere there, but best traders spend 80% of the time outside of the market. They're looking for a good entry point, and that applies to people doing it on 1 minute charts. I don't trade 1 minute charts. I trade longer time frames. Because I don't have the time. So good entry is very important, and I've done this mistake so many times. When you're like place the position and the price goes down 2%, and you're like, I'll just place it again, and then it drops 20%. Right? And I've done this so many times, and it's just drawing you in. It's like, come on.
I get that feeling. You see, you're saying that you've done it so many times.
Yes.
Me, I'll talk about it like I've done it yesterday.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand it. And then there is
Now we know what you were doing yesterday.
Selling that Lamborghini, right, to pay for the trade.
yeah, good thing I wasn't on the street. I was still trying to get something.
Okay.
Yeah. And then now, I just want us to talk about some of the mistakes that you've made across time when it comes to money and investment. So I remember that in 2019, I just graduated. And then lucky for me, I got employed in this industry. So I leave my mom's place, come to Nairobi, and then I get in. At that particular time, I was an account manager, so I'm given a client. And then there is this particular client, a very good friend of mine till date. It's called. So I saw him depositing 100,000 Kenya shillings. And then by the end of the week, he was trying to withdraw, I think it was like $10,000.
Nice.
Yeah, he'd already made that profit. And then I just got paid. So, first thing that I did
Drinks
was.
on you, Farah.
Yeah, I took my money, put it in, and said, if he can do it, I can also do it.
Okay.
So I ended up losing like 3/4 of the money. Good thing or bad thing, COVID happened, so it helped me. I started working from home. Yeah. So at least I was able to meet some of the other needs. Now, for you, what are some of like the mistakes that you've made with money? Me, I'd say that's one of the mistakes that I've ever made with money.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a similar experience. It's more recent, again, sort of in the early days of trading, my own trading. We had a WhatsApp group, right, with some people, and it's like some people, well, like I sort of like some of these people, like kind of like I would like to think that I kind of like I showed them how it's done, right? And then you end up seeing that these people start doing better than you, right? And you're like, oh, well, wait a minute, like I showed you, right? And then you start getting kind of like jealous, like why is he doing better? And you start competing,
Yes.
Yeah,
right? And
true.
you end up, that's a bad path to be on because it's not a competition, like I mean, if you're looking at your friends or you're looking at people that used to do worse than you, let them be, so they're on their own path. So I've lost like trading, I've lost a lot of money, like some, not a lot, maybe a lot of money, but I've lost money trying to kind of like, if my friend is placing a trade, I will just place a trade irrespective whether it's gonna go up or down, just because if he's placing, I want to be in the same position, so I've done a lot of these things, and it's just it gets into your head after a while. But like the core I guess lesson here, like just let it go. Like everybody is on their own path. It doesn't matter. Like it's your
Follow the plan.
exactly. It's your it's not even. Like it doesn't matter. Like if your friend makes $10 million, of course you're gonna feel a bit like, well, right? Like we all will be. But at the same time, if you're gonna start chasing it, most likely because you're gonna get emotional and you will end up, placing bad decisions, and you don't even know how he or she made it. So follow your own path. Have your own goals. Don't try to overdo. Like if you set yourself unrealistic goals, like I have a $1,000 capital, and you're like, well, I want to be at 100,000 in 6 months. It's the bar is too high, and it's not that it's impossible. It's just you're setting yourself in a mindset where it's very difficult to meet that bar, and when you start not meeting it, you get anxious. You get anxious, you get frustrated, you start getting annoyed, and that's when you start making bad decisions. Not it's when you get in a bad psychological state, when you get emotional. Yeah, that's right. And then, like, once you start losing money, you start chasing your losses because you're like, right, I lost, 5% of my capital here, so I only just need to make 10%. Then you lose 10%, and it's like, oh well, yeah, so it's still okay. I need to make 15%. And then it's a death spiral.
Yeah, and then that's how it goes.
Exactly, and then your friends are buying you a drink.
Because you have no money.
Yeah, exactly.
I think for me, it's more about. It's similar, not from the trading sense, but behaviors around money, keeping up with the Joneses. So when I started working, I think one of the most important assets that we bought, and we used to call them assets, was a phone. And we would change phones so often, so that you have the the fanciest phone in the office. Every 3-4 months, but it was expensive. So that then means you're impacting on your ability to save, your ability to invest, because phones depreciate so fast. that even if you were to trade it in, and that time there were no proper avenues for trade-ins.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was a Nokia 1110.
That was not even the first one. We had the 3310s and that kind of
okay.
phone, and I remember I owned one.
1610, you know,
Yeah.
call it a brick.
Yes.
Use it as a weapon. Back in the
I
day,
remember
2-in-1.
my rule was if it can't fit in the shirt pocket, then it's too big or it's too heavy. Yeah, so the 3310 had a very heavy battery, so I kept one for as usual less than 6 months, and I traded up. That time I think also Sony had very fancy light phones. And they moved now, they merged with Ericsson, which had been selling the brick phones, the 1018s and the like. And eventually you realize that at that time the only thing you needed to have was a phone that can call and can send SMSs. So, but in the meantime, you're competing with somebody who's earning 3 times what you're earning. Yeah, by way of a phone, and that goes to speak to a lot of other things. No, it's not just phones; it's cars, the neighborhood you live in, the holidays you want to take, the clubs you visit. You think that by hanging out with them, ideally, some of it will rub off.
Yeah.
But that time you're trying to show that you can match
You can match it, and
you
yet
ca-
you're living way beyond.
and you're struggling, and,
Yeah.
and it's impacting on your ability to save, because
save
you are
and
starting out
invest.
fresh from college. You have no savings. You actually have to plan to buy stuff for the house. So you can imagine you're delaying some things that you need because you had to upgrade your phone. So some of these things were, it didn't make sense. So after a while,
It's when you get the
occurred to me
balance
that,
and everything
then,
else.
I just need a phone that works. I can text my girlfriend and she gets a message. And then after that, it will come to you. When the phone needs replacing, you will replace. And then phones were much cheaper relatively. Then they got very expensive. So you can imagine now, had I kept up
With
that
the same
habit,
trend, you will be losing
then it becomes very
way
expensive.
too much. Okay. Now, one of the things that I just now want us to touch on is both of you have been to several countries across. So which country, one, did you find the hospitality like way too different? I remember Ken was giving me a story about some dashiki that he bought from Ghana and how it looked so fancy. But then you see, right now we are looking at it from Kenya and we can find it anywhere. Nobody can get the distinction. So both of you, which was one of the countries that you went to and you find the hospitality throwing you way too off? And which country would you again die to go to?
To go back to.
Yeah.
Wow. You go first.
Yeah, I'm just, I pass to you because I'm trying to think.
There have been that many.
I feel like it's a very trick question, because whatever you say, you're gonna offend somebody.
Okay.
You're gonna offend somebody in the world.
I will say no offense.
And
Yeah.
then you also have to think about the hospitality industry is not necessarily how the culture is.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. That's why I
So-
even just
yeah,
pointed out on the
and
hospitality side.
that's what you'll see a lot,
Yeah.
that people are very polite in hotels. They look after you. You're their customer. There's something that they need to do so that you return, you and stay with them again. So it's not. So it might not be what the culture is or how the community is. And then again, if you're traveling on holiday, you also, to some extent, you're only interacting with other travelers, and perhaps when you visit a zoo or you visit a museum, everybody is really polite. So being embedded in culture, like Pavel said, coming to Kenya, going to a local. To a local, and having a meal, having a conversation with the waiter, walking on the streets, in a mall, asking a question, then you get to feel how polite or impolite.
Yeah, you also have like the language aspect, right?
Yes.
So if you go, I don't know, if you go to Russia, for example, expecting everybody speaks English to you, you're
And
gonna
you
get
don't.
one treatment. But if you learn a bit of Russian, then you get a very different treatment.
Yeah.
For me, like I would say kind of like Thailand is one of the best in terms of like the treatment that you get, no matter what you speak, where you come from,
Yeah.
how you look like. It's just there's always just they're just always very welcoming, and I've been there a couple of times, and and mostly actually for not on business. It just kind of like, well, one time I ended up by myself, but like in every setting, it was always like easy to get along, with people, and I always felt kind of like, no matter what happens, you can always find somebody like a friend or. Well, that sounded weird, but you can yeah.
This Thailand.
Well, yeah, now I'm not piecing together. Where am I going with this? But it's just that the people are very welcoming, and like no matter, even if you don't speak the same language, like they just still try to explain and guide you and so on. So yeah, it's kind of like it's one of those kind of like, I guess, very hard. Well, not maybe hard to beat. I don't know, but yeah, like one of the kind of like experiences I've had in terms of the most like welcoming people I've met in terms of countries.
Yeah, we'll try and beat that.
Yeah. I've been to Thailand myself. Yeah, I do agree. I think for me it was Zanzibar. Yeah, we went on company trip actually, some conference, and some of them were Kenyans, but most of them were Tanzanians, and they were really, really hospitable. Yeah, people went out of their way to make sure you're comfortable. There is no expectation because they have served you that you'll tip them. I saw a bit of that in Egypt, where somebody even has a conversation with you about how much you need to tip them. Yes, that it comes out to this percentage of your trip. So that I can draw some parallel. Kenyans also are very hospitable, especially in Mombasa. They'll engage you, and especially when they know that you've come from up country, they try and engage and are friendly. Also, will take care of you pretty well, and with no, ulterior motive, because that sometimes is there's some level of expectation when you travel to certain countries that because they are nice, you will leave them a big tip. Yes. Yeah. But I remember Zanzibar was particularly special.
Yeah, so Thailand and Zanzibar.
Yeah.
Now, just to wrap it up,
Yeah.
being that you guys are in the financial space,
Yes.
are there investment opportunities for anyone that wants to come in? And what would you give guys what kind of advice would you give guys who want to invest in the financial markets?
Yeah. Do you want to go? Or?
Yeah. So in Kenya, we do offer physical offshore shares from 11 stock exchanges globally. So that pretty much covers a lot of the markets that a lot of our local investors want exposure to. Pavel will speak to a product that we launched a few weeks ago in greater detail, but that is something we've been offering since 2021. We've had some great success with it, and we do have it on offer. Minimum units is actually one. You can buy one share of the stock that you're interested in, and also the costs are very low. They're significantly lower than if you try to do this from another market. Yeah.
I feel like I need to pull out my phone. There's a compliance message somewhere. This is not an investment advice before we continue. But I mean, I guess kind of like actually to echo what Ken just said, if I was starting out, or even if I wasn't starting out, I would start with something less risky. Yeah. So the fractional stocks product that we recently launched is something I've done myself and something I do, as well. So that's probably where I would go, and I would focus on sort of, you look at kind of like at the world economies, where how the stock market indices are performing. So particularly if just starting out, small investment portfolio, or even if it's not let's say a portfolio as such, it's just trying out. I would start with U.S. stocks, and so
Which we have. Yeah, which we have.
we do have, and we'll launch the fractional stocks product, which is, doesn't get like it's basically, I would say kind of like everything is of course in financial services risky, but it's low risk, no leverage. There is no commission, there is no overnight fees, so that's where I would personally start off, and not even necessarily that I would kind of like put everything in there. It helps me to then get the feel of what the financial, like how the market moves, like what happens, like when the price moves, what happens to the price of my stock, like what happens to kind of like to my capital. So just to get with some of the basic fundamentals, that's where I would kind of like be looking at. And of course, like once you start and you have a certain amount of capital, then you start looking at other, kind of like products. You will start getting as well. It's a lot easier to then understand how the stock indices work, how like commodities work from all that. So because everything in the financial kind of like world and the markets is related, in one way or another. Yeah. Currencies, we talk about forex, so all that, kind of like you will get a much broader understanding once you start investing, and I would start with something really, really kind of like less risky, which is that's right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for gracing our PESA Chronicles here. Okay. Yeah, it was really a pleasure having you guys. So, you can definitely give a parting shot to our viewers.
Well, okay. So, I mean, I'm still here. I'm enjoying my time in Nairobi. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for having me here.
If you want exposure to the global markets, come to us at Scope Markets. We'll make that happen for you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. My parting shot: 1, visit Thailand; 2, visit Zanzibar; and 3, open an account with Scope, and we are definitely going to help you through your financial journey. So, cheers, and see you the next episode.